Welcome to Anarchy. I am coming to you live from Gatlinburg, Tennessee. Welcome, everybody. Shout out to Marcus and Nico. Shout out to the people in the chat already. Marcus, you mind setting up our banner at the bottom? I'm going to remind everybody real quick to like, to share, and to subscribe if you aren't already a subscriber. Hit that like button, and remember, 2 shares to speed the spread of this podcast. We are ready to go. We are ready to talk about what Nico calls ogre shit, aka government. And I don't know, gentlemen. I'm living the life out here, having fun on vacation. What are y'all up to? Oh wait, let me uncall. All right, now there we go. I'm sorry, everybody. Go ahead.
Similar.
I would like to second that, but my black ass still gets up at 3:30 every morning just to work out for 8 hours a day. Woo!
Wow.
On top of that, I've been kind of stressing, but you can't do too much outside of yourself. Everybody and my mama might legit just got their second dose on my mom's side or on my dad's side. And I'm like, and my mom got her second dose. And I'm like, oh boy. Her husband got his second dose and he had some kind of complications. Not too bad. But I'm like, y'all just go ahead and shooting straight up. And I'm like, this is so bad. Like, this is worse than the crack epidemic in the 80s and 90s. Like, this is
a
bad.
dumb epidemic. It is.
Man, why are you talking like that about Nico's family? Come on now.
I know.
No.
My family's just dumb, dude.
My family too. I'm just joking.
Dumb.
It's just he's the only one who had talked about it so far.
I love y'all. I can't wait for y'all to watch this because y'all gonna be feeling shitty. I'm sorry you're gonna feel shitty, but it's just the fact that it's the common sense. Hold on, let me put my yams down. I'm about to go in right quick because these.
Stop yammering, man.
I called my brother.
You got a goofy to put on like Uncle Hotep?
I wish. I got my unk.
There you go. All right.
But what sense does it make for us to understand that the history of our government is fucked up, right? So since we have an understanding that this place that is supposed to shelter us, supposed to take over, that's supposed to help govern and make things easier in our life, have not made shit easy. They tax the fuck out of you. They don't help you with any situation. If you have a gun, you're a motherfucking an illegal. You out here to harm somebody. Let's see. If you have your own kind of common sense, you're already retarded to the world. And I don't want to say the word retarded, but we're gonna use it because censorship is ass. They're gonna tell you how to say something or where to say it. And so now you need to the American government, I should say, if you want to get help, you have to pay for it. But all of a sudden, this coronavirus is out, and y'all like, no, we're gonna help y'all this time. We're really gonna help y'all, huh? So, what's different about this vaccine and the AIDS vaccine, or the fucking syphilis vaccine, or any other motherfucking thing that's out there? Like, when did we honestly believe that the people who have been in charge, who have been fucking you every day of your life, changed, and you're like, you know what? We want to do good for the American people.
Right.
When did they ever change their hearts?
Never.
It for real. So now it makes it funny because the black community, it's not like we didn't get injected with syphilis, right? Because the Tuskegee Airmen experience wasn't a thing. You don't think that y'all goofy asses are going to get infected by it? Like, America lives in its personal own little bubble of news. And if you get outside of that, everybody's looking at America like we are a ravaged crackheads peeling off our skin. Like,
for sure,
it's mind-boggling.
We kind of are. Honestly, I'm not too thrilled with what America has chosen. To be perfectly honest, it seems like our choices as a group, when you think about how we think of people in other countries and stuff like that, we tend to kind of, you think of Russians a certain way, you think of Argentinians a certain way, or whatever, it's only natural that they think of Americans as a collective, right? Even though we have a lot of diversity within us. Well, I think if they look at like the overarching, look at our media, look at what we put out, television shows and all that kind of stuff, and what is represented as American culture, and then what has become American culture. I don't think that they're wrong in thinking that we're, what did you say, crackheads with peeling our skin off and ravage
crackhead that's peeling his skin off.
For sure. Hey, watch out! You'll wind up with another T-shirt.
Right. Exactly.
I'll give you a whole bunch and so my cousin texted me. I accidentally texted her, and so I was like, "Oh, well, time to finish out this conversation." She was like, "Hey, just got my second vaccine shot," and I was like, "Next conversation." There was a coworker of mine who was like, "Yay, I got my first vaccine shot, so I'll be able to come out," and I'm like, y'all don't understand the ramifications of what this experiment is. Every single drug or a virus or fucking detrimental illness, a disease that's been out there that we've created a vaccine for, takes at least 5 to 10 years. So you're telling me, even though we advance in technology, don't get me wrong, they cut that shit short so fast. Come on now.
Well, all right. So I'm not going to say specific words because I think we've been doing a good job of not having that little banner show up at the bottom of our videos and all that stuff. And I want to keep it that way. And I definitely don't want us to do this thing to get dunked. But I will say this. The thing that people think that they're getting is that's not what they're getting. Mm-hmm. What they're getting is something that is
gene therapy,
an experimental thing that Marcus said that has not been approved by the administration of the things that are eaten and the things that are consumed for medicinal purposes. That administration that has 3 letters that has not approved this stuff. Not that that's a big ringing endorsement of something being good in the
we
first
can call
place,
them the fucking dumbass assholes.
Yes, the fucking dumbass assholes have not approved this stuff. Even though a lot of the stuff that they do approve is absolute garbage and kills people. Well, let's not talk about that. Yes, exactly. And many others. There's other ones. But
I took Vioxx. That's why I know.
It has been rushed through emergency use authorization, and that's it. That's where we are. And so these people are thinking, they're like, "Oh, I'm inoculated." Like, okay, that's
against
okay.
What?
It's not what you think it is. Anyway, what were you gonna say, Nico?
The fact that this card is about to be our new credits, social credits. Basically,
for sure.
If you break it down, certain places, and plus, they're already watching our black and white ass and yellow ass and oh wait, my bad, that was racist. Let me take that back.
Red, pink, purple. Them damn Martians need to be included. Your green ass.
They are going to tell you can go in certain places or you can't. They're going to really cut off your oxygen like a rear naked choke. And if you want anything, you're going to have to go get that pep talk from the doctor. And it's like, do you guys obviously don't see where this is going, where it's headed. So I'll break it down for you. In China, there's a thing called social credit. And basically, with that social credit, you have to be an obedient robot. And while being an obedient robot, you get good credit. Now, if you aren't the obedient robot and you got some kinks, some kicks, and some bruises, therefore, you probably won't let your kid go to college, or they can say, nah, he can't eat at McDonald's. And so, therefore, you have basically a tick or a number over your head. And that's what the vaccine, shinam abadaba doo-boo.
You already said it.
That's what we just did.
Let me take this moment to thank our sponsors.
At the end of it.
Let me take this moment to thank our sponsors so we can break the algorithm real quick. Remind everybody to go to our Patreon as well. Patreon.com/Aquarian Anarchy. And you can donate to this show to help keep us alive while Nico's trying to kill us. But I want to take this opportunity because I've been meaning to do this for weeks, and I keep forgetting because we get into what we're talking about, and I always forget. I always skip over this. But I want to thank our existing patrons. I want to say their names because we really appreciate you guys, and I want to make sure that you understand that you are recognized and you are loved. So, Tim, Free Jeezy, thank you very much. Darian, Gabe, Daryl, always in the chat, lighting it up. Although I don't see Daryl. Where you at, Daryl? Come on now. Brody McFarlane, Saul, 50 Shades of Saul G, and of course Halima. We appreciate all you guys, and we want anyone else who's already a patron. I'm going to take one out of Hotep Jesus' book. Stop drifting, and put your money where your mouth is, and either go give us a super chat on the Libre chat, which I'm going to check that right now to make sure we don't have anything going on over there. There's Saul saying what's up. All right. Oh, I'm back in there. Okay. It's hard to see because I'm on a different computer because I'm out in the wilderness out here. But I would show y'all what it looks like out here, but it's getting dark, so you can't see. But there's like mountains and shit over there to my left, so it's pretty badass out here.
People are just like
no, the sun's going down. Come on, man. God. All right, look, I'm gonna do it anyway. I'm gonna just try to see.
Oh, that's beautiful.
That's what I'm looking at out of the back. Yeah,
that's nice, man.
That's very, very pretty, and
very cool.
It's about to start. Shit's about to start getting back in bloom and everything. Spring is about to kick in. It was like snowing earlier this week, so it's not quite back to springtime and everything. But we got like there's a lot of still fall colors like that, those oranges and reds and everything. I'm sure y'all probably still have some of that stuff up in Indiana.
Actually, we've been snow free for some time now.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. But anyway, thanks to all our patrons, and if you're not already, go to our Patreon and become a Patreon subscriber. At the $5 level, you become part of our deep Hotep. Not Hotep. Our deep Anarch chat. I'm sorry. Look, I'm gonna let y'all take over.
Right, we're the Anarch wing of the Hotep Nation.
These boys have been wearing my ass out all week, chasing after them everywhere, up mountains, down rocks, trying to kill me. I almost felt. Huh? Oh yeah, I got my exercise, but my feet are worn out. It's just it's a whole nother level, man. Like and the thing is that the difference between this and like normal, like just regimented exercise is you tend to just go and go and go, and you don't realize how much damage you're doing until like the next day, and then you're like, what the fuck did I do? Oh my god! Like it's wearing your ass out the whole time, but you're still going because you have like, I got to get over there. Whereas if you're like on the track or on the treadmill, you can be like, yeah, that's good. I'm gonna push the stop button real quick. There's no stop button out here, chasing after these little monkeys climbing all over in the mountains and everything. And then we went to these amusement parks and shit, and there's like, running from one ride to the other so you can make the most of your time that you're in there. So anyway, it's been fun though. It's been really good.
The face muzzles.
There's been some of that, but honestly, like it's been like really it's been an experience. I've been liking what I'm seeing out here. There's a lot of freedom out here, so I've been enjoying that. That's not to say there hasn't been some of that stuff, but for the most part, even like at the amusement park and stuff like that, everybody was just out there doing their thing. So I saw some funny stuff though. I wore my Make Orwell Fiction Again shirt, and I got at least a dozen compliments on it. That was pretty cool. But I saw this one guy. He had a mask on. So they have these masks that they're making now. This to me it's funny at first. But then I thought about it. It's like it's really stupid. They make these masks where it looks like your face with a medical mask pulled down to the chin, and so it shows your lips and your nose. And I'm like, that defeats the whole purpose, because now you're wearing a mask and you're still getting people bugging you, telling you to pull your mask up. Right. So like, what's the point? I don't understand. Like, it's the stupidest shit I've ever seen. It was funny at first. Like when I first saw it, I was like, oh damn, that's pretty cool. And then I was like, no, wait, like that would be hell if you wore that damn thing, because all the shit that I hate about this whole nonsense that's going on with it is still there, because you still have people being a pain in the ass telling you, pull it up over your nose, sir. It's like, bruh, like it's up over my nose. No, it's not. Yeah, it is. Come look. Like you have to like explain to them, like, this isn't my real face. This is just a mask that looks like my face. Like they actually print, it looks like your actual face. Like
Yeah.
this,
Yeah.
it's kind of wild. It's a cool look, but like it's stupid to me.
Here in Indiana, the governor just rescinded the mask mandate, so now we don't have to wear one. There's still a boat ton of slaves out there doing it. It was so funny. We went to get our because I went to the BMV, which I'll tell that story in just a minute because that was a good time, as the last time was a good time. But anyway, after we were done at the BMV, we had just bought a new car, and this is yesterday. We went to, there was like a bolt that was, because it's a used car, that was stuck in the license plate thing. We went to they removed that at the dealer, and so anyway, we went in there to have that done, and we didn't have our masks on, like we never have our masks on. And the lady says well, don't you feel free now without having to wear a mask? I said, yes, I do. As a matter of fact,
if by don't you feel free now, if you mean don't you feel free ever since the beginning, yes, I do.
Right. Right.
Like, I mean, whatever. It's
I felt free ever since I came out my mom's womb. All right.
Right. Right. So
go ahead.
So I got to tell this fucking story before I forget it, because if anybody's paid attention to my adventures and because we've told this story several times, I'm going to not tell the story this time. But anyway, I've been to the BMV, got kicked out of the BMV, and so I'm going back to a different BMV because I'm not going to get kicked out of this one, hopefully. And so I go to this one, and they wouldn't let Amber and Anya in at all. Like my little girl and my wife weren't allowed in at all. So because they didn't need to be there, they're not going in. And the mask mandate's gone. You don't need to be here. You're not going to be here. So I said, okay. So I go in. So I'm waiting, right? They finally call my number. The point of this story is to kind of elucidate, or I guess, prove out the stupidity and the finger staring that Nico was talking about earlier. Mm-hmm. This guy that's in front of me, there's like 4 or 5 people. This guy that's in front of me. So they got their plastic walls up, and they got all their stuff, and to guard against my health and whatnot. So this guy's sitting in front of me in the chair that I'm about to be sitting in, and he's getting his car stuff done. I don't know what he did, but he got that done. So he stands up, and they call my number. I come over. There is a puddle of piss in the chair. A puddle of piss. This guy just gets there. He's still in the room, wandering around. And I look down, and I'm like, I can't sit there. Can I get one of these chairs? They're like, no. Okay, well, I'm going to have to stand here because I'm not going to sit in this piss.
I'm not sitting in this. It's sterile, Marcus. It's sterile.
Right. So they finally come out. The lady comes out, and she
we should be doing. We should be just pissing on everything to kill.
Right. Just piss all over everything. And so anyway, she sprays it down. So but now the only chair that I could sit in, because they won't let me sit in any other one, is wet with whatever the hell they sprayed it off with. So then this is the dumb shit that I went through to get to pay my extortion for my car, to get my license plate for this new car that I got. It is just,
it's insane.
That's the kind of ignorant shit that government is. That is the ogre shit. Go get you a t-shirt.
That's right.
The ogre shit that we are dealing with. None of this
Nico,
makes any sense.
Nico, if you got something, go ahead. I want to tell a story about what this trip where we went yesterday. But I want to give you an opportunity.
Definitely.
Okay.
I'll rebuttal whatever you put out.
Okay. I didn't know. I wanted to let you, because it's been a while since you chimed in. So, but so we go to this place yesterday, and it's all indoors. It's like an interactive museum type thing. It's called Wonderworks. Shout out to Wonderworks for being trash, even though the building outside looks cool. There were a few things that were kind of cool inside, but it was not what it was. We judged the book by its cover, I'll say that much, and it did not deliver. But what was really interesting to me and hilarious was, so first of all, they have this big sphere that you can like get in. That's like an anti-gravity thing. That's shut down because of the thing. you know, because you can't have people in there. So, but they have this thing where you can go in. There's an astronaut suit. There's an astronaut suit that you can get into the astronaut suit, like
after other people.
It's like behind. You get behind it, and you're kind of in. It's like a cross section of an astronaut suit. Okay, so you get in the back of it, and then you get into like the little dome thing. Okay. And then they take a picture of you. You know, your friend can take a picture of you, and it looks like you're in an astronaut suit on the moon or whatever. Okay, right. With like the little Apollo fucking landing pod in the background or whatever. Okay, so everybody gets in this thing, and then they're like, "Take your mask off." Okay, and so they're like, everybody's breathing all over this thing, and I'm sure people are coughing and sneezing on it too, and everything. Nobody's cleaning it. Okay.
No, of course not.
But then wait. So there's also this thing where there's like these bikes that are there's like a pulley system and everything, and so you're using it's like a perpetual motion machine, but you have to get it started with your own like motive power. And so two of you sit on this bike and you pedal when it's going forward, and then you stop pedaling when it goes back, and then when it starts going forward, you pedal again and you get it going. And if you can get it going all the way around, you can get it going a few times, and you have to keep pedaling to keep the momentum going. And so you just
sounds like vomit.
All you do is sit on that thing. No, but all you do is sit on that thing and then hold the handlebars and pedal. Okay. They have somebody wiping that thing down every inch of it every single time somebody gets on and gets off of that thing. But nobody's doing anything about that mask thing, the astronaut mask that people are breathing all over. Then wait, it gets better. This rag this dude is using to clean this thing off, I don't know that it has been washed this week. It is black. You can tell it used to be white, but it's not white anymore. It looks like
it's like reverse of Michael Jackson.
It's like when you go to those car washes or something like that, and you can tell that you're getting there at 3:00 in the afternoon because they've been washing cars since 11, and it's about the 85th car that rag has washed, and you have all that shit. That's what this rag looked like.
Wow.
And I'm like, bro, really? Like, so in the name of health and safety and cleanliness, we're going to use this dirty ass rag to clean off this, but nobody's going to fucking touch the damn mask that everybody's put their face in. And then we go, so back to the mask stuff. We go to the Titanic Museum today, and my mom is telling me this story because she's been.
I know the end of the story.
She's been through it. I know, right? She's been through it a couple of times. Okay, and by the way, they don't talk about J.P. Morgan at all on this whole tour, which is fun. Right. So my mom is telling me something about how like the Titanic movie was more Hollywood than this. I'm like, okay, so if they don't mention J.P. Morgan in this whole thing, then this thing is Hollywood too. So it's just its own version of it. But anyway, we're going through this thing, and she's telling me about. Oh no, it's when we get in the car after it's over. She says she tells me this story about this reverend. Because we didn't hear this story while we were out there. She's like, oh, when we came last time, they told us the story. There was this reverend, and he found this guy, and he didn't have a life vest, and he asked him, and it was a story about like the reverend giving his life vest to this guy so that he could have enough time to come to grips with his fate and come to believe in God so that his soul would be saved. And the reverend like sacrifice his own life to give this guy a little more time to like become a believer in God. So that's the story. But when my mom started telling me, I couldn't resist. Okay. So she says, the reverend goes, do you have a vest? And I said, and the other guy said, no, your vest protects me.
Yes.
So anyway, that was it. That was the joke.
That's funny.
What you got, Nico?
Can we still go on about I mean, what else is there about ogre shit? Wait, did you guys watch that HJ and Anomaly video yesterday?
Yes.
I did not. I saw
last night when we got home.
Yeah. I didn't see the whole thing. I saw like little, looked at it but didn't watch. I was
up until like 2:30 this morning watching it to finish it. So I didn't start until like midnight.
Watching it in and out. I was paying attention in and out. I was running around the house. My grandmother wasn't feeling too hot. And like every time I hear that, I'm like, this stupid ass vaccine. Like yesterday, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I was extremely heated. I was, shoveling, doing some work, and then I just got stuck in my head because as a person who, is so prideful in like his health and like wanting to help people with their health later on, I feel so useless because I can't help them.
Right.
No,
in
I
a
know
sense
what you mean.
of common sense or just helping them in general with the certain things that I know of. Because I was on the phone with my mom. Hey, Mom, please don't get the second dose. Too late. What the fuck? So, I mean, it is what it is. And so that's something you just got to take on the chin. But speaking of what you call it, yesterday's little debate about our former president, it's funny how they use ploys. So Donald Trump was a ploy.
Sure.
Most definitely was somebody who just caught the masses off guard. But every time like you point in the direction for the masses to go, they just look at you cockeyed and just like turn a little bit and be like, okay, let's scoot away from this guy. He's kind of
right.
I just see a lot of more people just scooting away than realizing.
Yeah.
It's too late.
Yeah, Nico, the thing is, what you're realizing, what you're seeing is frankly what Chad and I have been seeing for years. And you've got a little bit of a head start on us, but unfortunately, the vast majority of the people not only don't really want freedom, they're running headlong away from it, and they're scared of it.
There's people who think that this is freedom.
Yeah.
There's people who will tell you that, and that's why this whole thing of this BS, that's why I made the joke about the life vest. Your life vest protects me, and my life vest protects you. That kind of bullshit is the thing that it's now become, you not wearing what we want you to wear is you putting our lives at risk. Like, well, I'm not sick. I'm not coughing on you. I'm not doing like, how am I? You know what I mean? It's like it's the same as the gun debate. It's like, you can't have guns because we're afraid that you might shoot us with them. But we don't want to have any. No, we don't. But that's the thing, is that they say, well, we don't want to have any. And it's like, well, but you don't want to have any. But because I saw this video, they had a little on Revolt TV. I don't know if you saw that. They had this little 15-minute clip that Maj posted where it was like they did him and this female, I can't remember her name, who were more on like the pro 2A side. And then they had they had Touré. It was funny. They had Maj Touré and then Touré. And then they had this other female who was, they were both anti-gun. And the arguments that those folks made, and this chick is, on the one hand, she's talking about the violence, the disproportionate interactions that can lead to escalations that end up in violence and violent confrontations and even in police shootings and things like that. And so it's ironic to me, and I realize that like there's a very, very deep and complicated web that has to be kind of unwoven to make things right with like the relative, the law enforcement and the government in general and the Black community around the issue of guns and gun ownership and all that sort of stuff. But the idea that having that taking everyone else's right away to defend themselves and putting the exclusive right to own deadly weapons in the hands of law enforcement begs the question, but what if law enforcement comes for you?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is about all of this ogre shit is that it does not matter. One of the, as I've said, I'm beginning to be pretty influenced by Walter Block, and I like his methods. And one of the things that he does is he takes away any kind of high ground that the government has, because ogre shit is ogre shit. It is what it is. These people are absolutely not in doing anything in your best interest. In the moment you think about it does not matter what the issue is, whatever issue you add, because what you were saying, if you were saying we need government to do this, that, or the other thing, whether it's to protect us or to defend our freedom or build the roads or whatever it is, what you're saying is this issue would be much better if we added a violent monopoly of force to it. That would make things better. Is if you just added a little bit of violence, a little bit of torture, some slavery, then things would be all right. That is what you're saying. It doesn't matter what the issue is. When you're talking guns, what you're saying is, oh, you don't want to be able to defend yourself against violence. Okay, if you're talking about taxation, it's okay to take money from people at the point of a gun as long as you call yourself a government.
If it's for the good of the people,
right.
It's for good things. We're going to use it for good stuff. How else are we going to pay for all these things that we protect?
The use of toll roads and their money. Like, goodness gracious, Illinois is so sick with how many damn tolls we have, and the potholes are vicious. I feel like a fucking NASCAR driver dancing around these motherfucking potholes,
right?
Because it's just so bad. How, especially out in, say, it's like the South Side, all the way up north where the comfortable people live, where they can actually be comfortable. Them potholes are clean straight the fuck up. But in Southside, man, it's terrible.
Right. Yeah, because they don't. The government never makes things better. They add extortion and murder. That is the only thing they do. That is, in people, no matter how you frame it, no matter what you're talking about, there are only three things that government does. They steal from you, they murder you, and they enslave you. That is it. That is all they do.
My uncle is a mad history fanatic. I remember months ago, I was in the basement. It was me, his neighbor, and my uncle Nardo. And they're all drunk shitless. My Uncle Nardo is, I believe, a Muslim, but that man is all types of fucking religious. And my uncle is more so on the atheist side and just believes in evolution. So he was breaking down all this history, and he's doing it bar for bar, date for date, and civilization after civilization. I'm like, wow, that's really good. But where's the fucking common sense in it leading up to where the fuck you're at right now?
Yeah. And it's hard, man. You just bang your head against the wall, and that's that. But the number one thing they're trying to get us to think is that we're alone, that there aren't anybody else. I mean, I remember Rita right here with this quote that she's got there. I remember having the conversation with Rita about Anarchy on the Mogul Summit, and the next thing I know, because
shout out the Mogul Summit gang.
Yeah, for sure. And as soon as she started looking at it, she realized, all y'all are saying really is stop hurting people.
Right.
The people want to argue that, with anarchy, it would be awful. And, I didn't experience government all the way to West Virginia. Because except once when a cop pulled up behind me, I was scared he's going to pull me over for nothing. That is the only interaction I had with government. That's the only thing that government impacted my life at all was when a cop, and it was in a threatening manner, because cops do what cops do. They race up on your ass when you aren't doing anything wrong. And not that speeding's wrong. I'm not going to get into all that bullshit. But at least with a speed limit sign, they've posted what the hell they're expecting from you, instead of popping up and being like, oh, because we had CBD with us. We didn't have any weed because I knew better. But we did have CBD with us, and I'm worried they're going to pop us for the CBD because I don't have any idea what the West Virginia laws are, because of course they're not posted. Right. So at least with speed limit signs, they know. But my point is that most of our interactions are in a state of anarchy. Most of them are. And how we fight this, I respect many things in the Libertarian Party. I respect many of the things that they do. And I would like to see a vibrant, alive Libertarian Party. It just doesn't exist right now. And because the Libertarian Party as it is isn't libertarian. But at the end of the day, whatever takes us there will be because people woke up to the fact that, wait a minute, we don't need violence.
Right.
Because
one of the best ways that I ever heard it described was when Adam was talking about it. This is a long time ago, early on when I'm talking about Adam Kokesh. This is the way that Marcus and I met, was through his campaign. But he was talking about the idea that, okay, if you walk outside into your neighborhood and you don't murder your neighbors, is that because you're afraid you're going to get caught, or because you don't see any reason why you would want to murder your neighbors?
Right.
So all of the things that we do on a daily basis, the human nature is so much more likely to tend towards cooperation and working toward mutual benefit, because that's how we progress. Otherwise, we end up huddled in a corner where we've murdered everyone and we have everything for ourselves. We end up like Larfleeze or whatever in the Orange Lantern Corps, from the old. Saul will appreciate that. I'm sure. But anyway, so it's basically like it's the greed. The Orange Lantern is greed. Is the and so it's so everything is like I have to have it all. I have to have everything. So that selfishness leads us nowhere, right? So we tend towards, as human beings, towards cooperation. But when we tend to do evil, it tends to end up in places where power is concentrated much more prevalently than in distributed power. Because if the power is distributed the way that it should be through natural order of things, then you don't have as likely. If you have, for instance, if you hate Donald Trump or you hate Joe Biden, okay, the best argument you can make to not be worried about the threats that you think that they pose is to remove the power from them and give the small bit of it that you have ceded to them back to yourself.
Facts.
Yeah.
And everyone else. Because then if Marcus is an asshole like Trump, I just have to deal with Marcus on the very small level that I have to deal with him. If someone else is an asshole like Biden and they are at the top of the heap, now they get to make executive orders and start mandating shit.
Right. Or building a wall.
That evil has a lot more influence. And so, but I want to bring this quote up. I pulled it up specifically for this conversation. This is John Hosnes. He's a professor of law at Georgetown University. I think he's still there. I'm pretty sure. But this is an old meme that I pulled up a long time ago. Anarchy, a society without a central political authority, does not equal the Orwellian definition of anarchy, which is chaos. And so I'll read it here so that if anybody's listening to this on audio, they will get it as well. Anarchy refers to a society without a central political authority, but it is also used to refer to disorder and chaos. This constitutes a textbook example of Orwellian newspeak, in which assigning the same name to two different concepts effectively narrows the range of thought. For if lack of government is identified with the lack of order, no one will ask whether lack of government actually results in a lack of order. And this uninquisitive mental attitude, we're full of that, aren't we? This uninquisitive mental attitude is absolutely essential to the case for the state, For if people were to ever seriously question whether government is really productive of order, popular support for government would almost instantly collapse. And what's funny about this is that there's always, whenever the grip is starting to slip, that's when these types of things happen. 9/11, the thing that happened that we've been going through for this last year. You go back, but before that, it was you could go through several different, World War I, World War II. Whenever people whenever people are starting to feel their own sense of freedom and starting to say, like, hey, I don't know if we need all this stuff, that's when you get the boogeyman. And that's why I think if you go back to what Bill Cooper said about UFO sightings and all that stuff, is that whether you believe in that stuff and that there are aliens or not, you best believe that these motherfuckers are working on ways to simulate that sort of thing happening so that they can rally everyone in the world together, Independence Day style, under a one world government to fight the big bad alien enemy that's coming to kill us all. Because it's a matter of survival at that point. If this shit right here, this little invisible alien, has not been a textbook example of that, I can't help you. Like, and I posted this little video. I don't know if y'all have seen it, but there's this doctor from, I think it's George Washington University, basically saying, look, we have to hurry up and get people shinated as quickly as possible, because that's how we tie the freedoms to that. Because if these states keep opening up before that happens and all these freedoms are there, then what do we have to offer to make people go get this thing?
Right. Yeah.
Oh my God, if you don't hear that and it doesn't chill you to the bone, and you don't, and you weren't already on the bandwagon of like, I'm not getting that shit, you better be now, because they're telling you, we're trying to hurry up and make you think that this is your only path to freedom, because if we don't, you might get freedom anyway on your own and not need us to give that shit to you.
I want to back up.
And we're afraid of that. Go ahead.
Yeah, for sure. I want to back up because to drive your point home, Chad, let's be clear, if there were aliens that were coming here and they wanted to kill us, let's put into perspective how out of reach for us it is. We cannot put a human being on Mars. Cannot. Can't do it. We are not capable.
Our bodies would fucking
right. Exactly. Exactly. Rahm Emanuel with Rita. But okay, so let's put this into perspective. If they did come here, if they want to get jiggy, we are done. There is no reality. There's no fight. There's nothing. If they manage to get the fuck here, they are so far ahead of us. Right. If they want to blow us the fuck up, they can.
Right.
But the government doesn't care about all that. They don't care whether or not, because their instrument is not to protect us. The government never said, I'm going to protect you. That's never going to be its goal. What it's going to do is it's going to try to make a deal with the aliens so that it survives, and it will offer you up as an offering. Right. Understand the demon we're dealing with.
That's what we are, is a big ass offering, the common people, and taking that pep talk from the doctor. It's like, this is where we go back to common sense. Every fucking vaccine. Wow, Nick, just shoot yourself in the tongue. Why don't you?
I was gonna say, man, you just keep saying it. It's all right. It's all.
I'm so sorry. I'm tired, everybody.
Fuck a bunch of the censors.
Finish your point. Finish your point before you.
The point being is that we're their big old scapegoats. Like, we've always been a scapegoat for absolutely everything that they want to try us out. My grandmother, I remember this one time, we were coming back from Georgia, and she's got a purse full of food, food to warm up in the microwave and shit. And they're like, ma'am, you can't bring this on. She was, She grabbed her bag real close to her. She was like, "What are you talking about? I can't bring this food on the plane." And it's all because of 9/11 and all the precautions behind that.
Right.
And so the common sense is that what the fuck is this food going to do? How am I? I'm plotting to kill somebody? Is this
Right,
the
right, right.
apple from Snow White?
You got a chicken noodle soup bomb in there.
You feel me?
Right.
Like the noodles are about to turn into Slytherins and just crawl in people's ears. No, man. So we've been the scapegoat for a lot of things, and I wouldn't be surprised if our lives were bettered on by $1 to wear a mask by the big redacted. I wouldn't be surprised that they bet our lives for a fucking dollar, a singular dollar. I wouldn't be surprised at all. I wouldn't be surprised if all the stuff that is that this pep talk from the doctor eradicates half the people on the planet. Wouldn't be surprised. Because
for sure.
Or at least I don't know. I mean, I don't want to get into a whole bunch of stuff that like goes into, because I'm very careful. So what I would like to say on that is that I don't know, because I'm not in their meetings, but I know there's some shit, there's some stuff that's either going to be like either it's going to mean demises coming, or it's going to mean some easy programmability, or some suggestibility, or just some health issues that keep you on the hamster wheel of all that stuff. But I'll go back to this. And I don't know who originated this. The first person I heard say it was Adam, talking about Facebook and some of these other platforms that are free to the public. And he's always said, if the service is free, you are the product. And let's go back to what you were saying earlier, Nico, about this thing that they're offering to stick in you is free.
Or
who's the product? If the service is free, service is free, yes, it's the crops, it's the livestock that are the product that are being offered. We are the offering in that sense.
I still again and again and again, it brings me back to, there was a period probably around about 6-7 years ago, where I did a lot of work late at night, and part of that included that I listened to a whole bunch of books on tape, and there's a whole bunch of things that really opened my eyes at the time. I read Aristotle's Metaphysics, and when I say read, I listened to it. But one of the things that I listened to, because I'm interested in philosophy, was I listened to a thing on Greek culture, and because Greek philosophers were huge in the development of philosophy. And one of the things that I learned about Greek culture was that 70% of their culture was slaves. They were direct slaves. Now, they lived in a house that they didn't own, that the state owned, that the wealthy owned. They didn't actually make money. They made enough to where they would be able to go out and get food and things like that, but they couldn't buy things for themselves like the non-slaves could. And what I've realized is we've gone back to that. Yeah. We have taken a step back. We are enslaved. The people, all of these people that they call citizens in this country, or frankly globally, are not actual members of the elite. Like Carlin said, it's a club and you ain't in it. Right. And what you are is a slave. And the moment that you try to hold back your tribute to the king, they'll make sure you know that you're a slave, because they will go on and throw you right into a prison. Shit. Yeah, for sure. John McAfee is a perfect example.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, I was reading a book on astrology and health and how it's connected, and it's funny. This book legit points out that cancer was cured back in the 30s. When you think of diseases, it's very simple. It's either because you have too much of something in your system or too little of something in your system. That's all it is. And when you go back to the people who hold the information on this, it's like going back and burning the Library of Alexandria, where there's so much fucking information on the world and the upbringing and things of that nature. And then you fast forward, they specifically give you things. It's not looking around. It's not looking around and being able to say, well, this book is, even though it's not necessarily a part of our medical system, it still talks about health. No. They give you all the books that are in specific guidelines and specific chapters and specific series for you to read. Don't get me wrong. You're supposed to be able to read what the human body is. That's one series, cool. But you have to go outside of it. And there was this quote that I read or saw, I don't remember, but it's, if the elite gave you or doesn't share their riches with you, doesn't share their information with you, doesn't share their real God with you, what makes you think they're going to share their real health with you?
Right. For sure. You know, one of the, you're right. I don't know exactly what cure for cancer you're talking about, Nico, because that's not something I've studied, but I will say that they do know that cancer can't grow in a base environment. In a base environment. And you know, I'm a fat dude. I'm not one to preach at people about health. I drink sugary drinks. I eat like I shouldn't. You know, I'm not awful. I know. I'm better
talking
than
to myself too, though, because I don't do the sugary drinks, but I eat shit I shouldn't be eating, especially on this trip. Goddamn, man, there's some good food out here.
Right. Definitely good, but so I'm not one to.
They made it taste really good,
right, for sure.
Everything's an addiction, baby.
Yeah, you know, I'm not trying to preach at people being a fat guy about health, but the facts are that, you know, we should be focusing on real health issues, and one of the things, you know, go outside, stuff like that is better than getting the virus. You know, things like, you know, the simple cures are being overlooked, you know, but that's on purpose, because I'm with Scott Creighton. You know, they weren't guarding us from the V.
Thing.
They were guarding the thing from us, because the human body spit that shit out and just, oh, well, there you go, this is next. But it comes back to what Nico was talking about, is another social credit score. Whether it's exactly that what China has or not doesn't really matter. It is at least leading in that direction. And again, I have to say to people that I am hopeful. And people are like, oh, but how could you be hopeful with all this crap? Because I'm not trying to convince people that are, you know, just throwing a mask on and taking it right in the arm. I'm not talking to them. You can't save everybody. If you're on a sinking ship and somebody's holding on to the chairs in the lounge, yeah, you need to get them to the escape pod, and you can't get them there. Well, sorry about you. I gotta go.
Yeah,
you know.
So to that point about hope, I think you have to, right? Because when you see the haymaker that they tried to throw this last year, I mean,
yeah,
that smacks of desperation to me. Sure. Like, this was they're very good at, like,
recovering,
doing something that that too, but they're very good at choosing to execute a plan when they have so many different strategic objectives that they can go after.
Sure.
Okay, like long-term targets that they can go after, and then they have it spread over so many different tactical maneuvers to where you can see that they've maneuvered in this whole thing, and it's been like, okay, well, they're not buying that. Okay, well, then make them do this. Okay, well, what if they tell them this? We'll let them do this, and anyway, that kind of shit, where they make it to where it's all still a rat maze that you're in, and the cheese is fucking laced with arsenic, but we're still going for the cheese,
right?
You know. So what that tells me, though, the fact that it's so heavy, that they push so hard. I felt the same way about, like, 9/11. Like, I feel like coming out of the 80s and 90s, we were on a path to, like, with the internet. And let's think about this. So you have the internet, and then you have the explosion of social media, like back to back.
Facts.
All right. So all through the 90s, the internet picks up. And now you've got all these different places that people can get information and everything. Boom. Patriot Act. Everything, you just start hammering away with all these things that tamp down on that.
Right.
Okay. That shows how close things were getting to really becoming more free.
Open. Yeah.
And open. Right. So same thing here. You have social media and you have the growth, the outgrowth. I don't think it's a mistake or a coincidence that even within, like, look, let's be perfectly honest. We are friends with and connected with some people who are not far away from, like, the what would be the highest levels in this big monstrosity, and in a place to, like, either pull it back to at least more constitutional levels, or even eradicate it altogether. Okay. And I'm seeing that stuff and those people and those voices become more and more popular among everyday people, or at least were, right up until they smacked us down again. Or they smacked a lot of people down again. But what we have to do, and that's why I said I made a video about this 2 years ago, when you see they start canceling all, Alex Jones and Laura Loomer and Louis Farrakhan and all these people, what our job is to do what we've been doing for this last year. The three of us is be another voice, swarm, to have more people, more bodies going out. We have to be the zombies, okay, you shot one of us in the head. Well, we got 15 more of us coming to eat you. So because we outnumber them. We outnumber them so bad, and we're better people than they are.
And you can see that in who we have reached out to. We are developing, whether it's underneath that guise of the Hotep Nation or not, doesn't matter. You look at Jonesy, you look at Saul and Corey, you look at the different people that have podcasts that we're interconnected with. And shout out to everybody, and I'm not going to try to name everyone because there's a bunch of them. We know.
And Rita with the Small Business Podcast, shout out to Rita.
For sure.
Can I point out that, like, even though they're your connections, like, I most definitely did talk to, like, 2 presidential candidates. Like, that shit's fucking fire.
Yeah.
Like, not a lot of people could say that. It's like, you guys, I would most definitely say that we're on the right path. Like, at the end of the day, you can't let the shackles and the big ass weights, because look, we're gonna have to treat this bitch like a Saw movie and take your foot off if we want to live. We're gonna have to do some extreme shit to, like, not extreme, but extreme enough to just keep pushing.
Right. But I guess what I was getting at is that I don't know how y'all felt about this years ago, but I kind of felt like, as I was discovering this stuff and as I was coming to my senses around this stuff, I felt alone. And I felt like I found these, weird, off the wall, hidden people in these rabbit holes online. And that it was all this, like, isolated silo type shit that, like, me and maybe 3,000 other people in the country actually believe this shit.
Right.
And as I've started to see this stuff start to take off, I've noticed, no, wait, like, this stuff. And I know Sonny Johnson's not an anarchist, but, like, I consider her, like, one of our kindred. And she sat at the table with Donald Trump a year ago.
Yeah. To
talk about how the Black community could better be represented, be better served, and how, like, policing and all that stuff. And she, when he brought up a point about, there need to be police, she was like, okay, yeah, but we don't need all these laws that are forcing these interactions between police and citizens who otherwise would be just minding their own business, because that creates some of these situations that don't need to be happening. And so, like, to have somebody who has the gumption to push back at like, a lot of people, when they get a chance to sit down at the table with Donald Trump, are just gonna be like, oh, thank you, sir. Thank you, Jesus. thank you for seeing me. Where do I kiss your feet? You know,
Right.
And Sunny was respectful, but she brought the heat.
Right.
She
Good.
didn't hold back.
Yeah, I saw it.
And like that's not some bullshit.
Mhm.
You know, and that spreads a little. What this isn't. We're not alone. I guess that's what I'm saying. We're not alone, and we're not powerless in this.
And you're right. And for those that are out there that might be a Republican or a conservative or whatever the hell you call yourself, what what I think Chad would agree with, and I know Nico would as well, is that use us. We scare the shit out of those people. Conservatives, use us as allies. Say, we want a little bit more freedom. And give us a little bit more freedom. You see what the anarchists are talking about? I like those guys. They're awful nice, and I'd really like to stay on your side of this track. Because if you don't, we're going to side with them.
Right. We'll continue to be the radicals, and you can continue to be like the Fabian conservatives who want to get there, incrementally. Like, shout out to the progressive socialists, whatever, who have like nibbled their way away at like eating this elephant that was freedom. Because goddamn, they did a number. That elephant is dead, and they're picking the meat off the ribs now because the freedom is just about all gone now. And
I have. Oh, go ahead.
No, finish. I mean, go ahead. I'm finished.
No. This is like completely off topic, but this was a tweet that I've been like meaning to make. So, with all of the altercations of like everything just gets changed and misconstrued, I found out there is the queen that we use wasn't spelled how it used to be spelled, and it has a completely different meaning. So with that being said, they made a grave digger or a treasure hunter a fucking icon. Indiana Jones legit went into fucking pyramids and shit and stole from dead motherfuckers. We idolize
so they could put it in a museum in the US or in Britain or wherever. Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, we legit idolize a fucking gravedigger. Like somebody who just disrespect the culture or just disrespect the ideology of somebody resting in peace. There's no such thing as peace now. Legit no more. You can't be in your home because if you're brown or black, you can get your house raided in and shot. If you
that happens to white people too.
Oh yeah, my bad.
Shout out to Duncan Lemp and let's see, who was the other? They didn't raid his house, but there was a kid who got shot in the hallway or whatever, where he was.
I saw that sick shit.
He was just like, I don't know what you want me to do. You're telling me to crawl on my hands and knees, and you're also telling me to put my hands up. Which one is it? And they're like, shut up!
I would have just laid there. I'd have took all my clothes off and just like, go ahead, bro. Come on, because I have no time for it.
Pause.
Actually, no bullshit. Now, pause. My bad. Sick motherfucker. So, over the weekend, I had a semi-traumatizing experience, and this goes back to owning a gun. Because if I had a gun and everybody else in the motherfucking car had a gun, I don't think I'd have been traumatized. But all in all, my boys and I were chilling, and my boys were smoking, and this dude walked up on us with like an AR, and his homie had a fucking M9. He just walked up on us. And I had a karambit. A karambit's not winning against the M9 and the fucking assault rifle. So they pull up to the car with the motherfucking gun to the window. And I'm like, here we go again.
Damn, man.
Man, I was in a jam. But like that goes back to the points of taking away our freedoms. If I didn't have to worry about the government or guns being so expensive because of taxes and shit like that, I would most definitely be walking around making sure, knowing that I'm extremely dangerous, but knowing that everybody else on this bitch is still hot too.
Yeah.
With that being said, like, you know for a fact that there's a sense of protection. Like, actually, funny shit. I'm laying in my bed last night and I'm about to go to sleep and I feel my bed shake and I'm like, what the fuck is that? So I run downstairs. I'm like, Granny, are you okay? Or yeah, slumped, sleep. I'm like, okay, well, shit. Is there somebody in my basement? I run downstairs to my basement and I'm like, oh wait, I don't have a gun. So if somebody legit ran up in my house right now, I'd be smoked. My grandmother smoked, all that, over with. Because of the lack of protection that we have, the lack of the freedom of protection that we have.
Sure. For everybody's knowledge, Nico lives in the People's Republic of Chicago. So
right,
yeah. Lloyd Lightfoot out here, Lightfoot gang.
Right. If I can, I want to kind of dig into that experience a little bit with you, Nico, because I want to go a couple of different ways with it. But this is a really cool opportunity, I think, to explore something for the three of us, but also for our audience. First is promise me that if you don't already know that if you do decide to arm yourself, that you make sure that you do everything you can to learn how to as effectively and efficiently and safely move with that protection. Okay. Because what I don't want is to to have a situation like that. Because a lot of times I think people think, and I'm not saying you do, but I'm just saying, like, this is a thing that people need to know, that merely having a gun does not make you safer.
No,
it does not. In fact, in a lot of cases, it probably makes you a lot less safe because first of all, you might do something to yourself or someone else in your house might have an opportunity. But the other thing is, you in a situation like that, if you don't know how to handle yourself, you might get yourself shot by the other person because you pulled it at the wrong time or you flashed it or whatever. So anyway, promise me that you'll get the
straight to
the most training you can possibly get.
Training. Yeah. I'll take a flight out if I have to and flash a quick, FBI card. Be like, all right, I don't need this. I don't need this. This shit.
So my second part of it, and this is the more important part, because I want to really kind of dig into. That was actually pretty important. I won't say it's more important, but it may be more complicated or detailed. If you can't own a gun in Chicago legally, right?
Yeah.
Then I want to dig into this because this is where the fuckery and the crux of the fuckery really comes into play. Because you are, I'm trying to paint this. I'm trying to think of this scenario. I was thinking it through while you were telling the story. I was like, because it, like, if when something can like flash through and you can like play out a few scenarios in like a couple of seconds.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking like, okay, so let's say Nico is fully trained, knows what he's doing, and he's strapped, and that guy comes up. Okay, let's just say Nico saves the day. Nico smokes both of these dudes before they can do anything to harm y'all. Okay, now what do? You got to peel out, drive off because you're not supposed to have a gun. It's not like you can call the cops and say, hey, by the way, because like down here, I don't know about Tennessee, but in Louisiana and other states around Louisiana and Texas, if somebody comes and tries to take your shit and you shoot them and they had a gun and you just like take care of business and then call the cops and they come like check out everything and they're like, okay, yeah, you were now you better have your shit straight where you weren't they weren't running away and you shot them in the back or something like that, but I'm just saying, like, the way that this stuff is all set up, it's made it to where innocent people are more vulnerable than the guys who walked up to you because they don't really care.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So, first, like, what is it? Am I off base or is
when
What do you think happens in that scenario?
I'll go a little bit more in detail. So he didn't tap on the window. He had opened up my door. I can't open my door. My boy's panel was completely missing. I couldn't open up my door. I knew shit was about to hit the fan because actually I heard right before we got into my boy's car, I heard like at least 5 rounds go off in the distance. And I was like, oh, somebody ass got smoked. So I'm like, it is what it is. I walk to my boy's car, sit down, and I have my little satchel. I would pull it up, but I feel like an ESPN host. I don't got the proper pants on. I got some pajama pants. But,
it's all right. I'm in shorts. I'm not gonna lie. It's outside in shorts.
So I have my bag and my karambit's inside of it, and a short little tubby Mexican and a taller Mexican. And the tubby Mexican got a jacket, and then out that jacket, I don't know why he tried disguising it. You saw the fucking barrel of the gun. And then I was like, if he has a gun, he most definitely got a gun under his shirt. So I'm more paying attention to the one that's got the fucking long barrel sticking out. He comes to my side, opens up the door, and homie right here, me, my other homie in back, and he was like, "You gang affiliated?" No, nigga, what it look like? Nah, I don't even got the right colors. you calling out the right? You calling out the wrong? Color.
You're like Aquarian Anarchy, motherfucker.
You feel me? So I'm just sitting
right.
down. I'm sitting Friday, chill out. So in my head, I was worried about my homies because he's basically, I know for a fact my reaction time is absolutely astronomical. I'd have been able to grab this gun and my karambit knife would have been in this tubby's gut real fast. But the thing is my other
got another guy. Yeah.
I have 2 more homies. So there's absolutely no way because the homie was behind me and the guy opened up the door right here, or the passenger door behind the driver. So I'm like, well, I can't do shit. Legit can't do shit. Even if we all had guns, and like you said, there's no scenario where there's not a scenario in this world or in another universe where we all don't get shot and lit up.
Right. And probably arrested for being there.
Look, I wouldn't care about being arrested. I just care about being alive. That's all it is.
For sure.
And so, look, it's just
I was just going to say, and in those situations like you're talking about, you really are kind of fucked because like Chad was talking about, what do? In Illinois, particularly in Chicago, you're fucked. In Indiana, I might be a little better off than you are, but if I'm still out, I'm still not going to, I'm not going to be able, they're still going to arrest me if I shoot somebody, in Indiana. But just like if I'm downtown Indianapolis going to something, let's say I'm going to like a show or something, and somebody pulls a gun and shoots at me and I shoot both of them, kill them. Nobody but the perpetrators are killed. I'm still going to jail.
Yeah.
For discharging a firearm in city limits.
It's a sticky situation because, the people who are supposed to protect me, they're not the people to call. They're way too far away.
Yeah. Well, and on top of that, they're looking at taking you to jail. Their goal is to take you to jail.
Yeah, they're going to be asking the same questions that those Mexicans were asking you. Are you gang affiliated? It's going to be,
why do
you get the third degree. Right.
Do you need to protect yourself? Why this, that, and the third? There's no such thing as proper protection now. Yeah. There legit is no such thing as proper protection. In certain areas, in certain states, you guys got the neighborhood watch, and that neighborhood watch might most definitely have somebody with the window, grandpa with the sniper on the shoulder and all that.
Right.
But like at the end of the day, those gangs are their neighborhood watch.
But all this is one criminal organization guarding another criminal organization.
Facts.
The reason that it is set up this way is because the government is nothing more than burglars. That's it.
No, that's a mafia. There's nothing but a mafia. It's just one family's over here, one family's over there, another family. Right. I've just seen it as a mafia. There's always been a mafia. They're able to walk up into your crib whenever they want. They're able to tax you whenever they want. Oh, you living on my property? Oh, run that money. Like, there's no such thing as you living free. Living free means that I can most definitely go down the block, build a hut, and then just keep working on that hut, living free, property, tax-free, all that. But since I'm in America, or matter of fact, the planet Earth, because, you know, planet Earth is owned by humans, specific humans with the oldest money in this fucking world. I have to pay them.
Or you can find every way not to.
You always have to end up paying somebody else. You always come out of your pocket or your time. You're always coming out of your resources. It's always going to be personally your resources when it matters, when it comes to any of these matters.
So you're absolutely right. And at this point, I think what we've identified the problem, the fuckery that is the state. How do we fix it? What do we do to make things better? What do we do because so many people will say, okay, but you know, and I know that for libertarians and anarchists, you know, we're constantly hearing who will build the roads or all those kinds of things. And you talked, Nico, earlier about how you know, you hated the toll roads. What's funny is, yeah, toll roads suck because they're a monopoly given to a company over a road. And people say, well, there'd be toll roads everywhere. No, there wouldn't be. That is not the only solution. And that is what government tries to do. So what solutions to the problems? There are real problems. There are always going to be murderers. There are always going to be thieves. There are always going to be people who are looking to hurt other people. My solution, the first thing is to identify that right now we have those people in charge. Those are the people that we put in charge. Now, we have to get those people out of being in charge, which means we need to move towards a voluntarist or an anarch-based society or a Hotep society. But how do we do that? What do we do? How do we move there? How do we go from where we are to that? What's the first step?
The first step, putting bullets in their heads. Shit. No.
I can't agree with that.
I think he's talking about the oligarchs, but
the oligarchs.
But
the first step is education. It's always education. It's always having an understanding of what needs to be fixed, what needs to be learned or taught. So, for example, if you don't know it, you always brainstorm. That's what the brain is for, is to create answers for your question. That's all it is. And it creates questions so that you can answer it. The first step in making, wait. Are we talking about my situation or
your situation or any situation like it?
Yeah, I think like the overall situation, like what's because I think we each have our own
fixing
individual
the neighborhoods. That would be personally my first step, is fixing the neighborhoods. When you fix the neighborhoods, I always say it starts with the individual. The individual leads to the family, and the family leads to the community leads to society.
How do we get there from where we are?
How does one fix an individual's thought process on not fending for themselves? Basically, personally, go ahead.
I think that this is what we face. This is what we look at from, you know, our perspective is how do we get there, and without violence, without becoming the enemy that we hate. How do we get there? I don't know that I have all those answers.
Well, that's why I put up that quote from, I'll put it up again, from Made in Liberty.
Help yourself. Education.
What about helping yourself? And so I think that's the thing, is like we have to each, and this is for everybody, every one of us, the three of us on this screen, and everybody who's watching, and everybody who watches this in the future, what you figure out what you can do to make those around you more free, make them more self-reliant, make them more interdependent not interdependent, but make it more cooperative, where you can lean on each other when necessary and not have to lean on the oligarchy and its solutions. Because the more we can, Marcus, goes through a rough time. He needs help. Nico and I can help him out. Nico goes through a rough time. He needs some help. Marcus and I can help him. I go through a rough time. Have that sort of like interdependence in that sense, where it's all voluntary and it's all done from love and compassion and a mutual goal that you're trying to achieve. You start there, like Nico said, the individual, the family, the community, then society as it grows larger. Each one of us has to figure out for ourselves what talents we have, what passions we have, and go live those and go make those talents even stronger and build on our weaknesses so that they become stronger, and also accentuate our strengths so that we become even better at those things, and offer that into society, into a voluntary type of exchange where you can make that available to other people. And then also you can eventually gain some benefit from the value that it provides, because people will want to offer value for value. And that's where I think this where it starts, is that we have to each individually, there's no cookie cutter answer, I guess is what I'm saying. The only cookie cutter answer is that we each have to figure it out what our cookie's going to look like. We're going to make our own individual cookie.
Well, I also want to kind of go with Maiden Liberty also said, is an ANCAP libertarian society even possible? The answer to that is that we don't even know what and I'm going to kind of bypass the ANCAP thing, because I don't like the title myself. I don't know that I would call myself an ANCAP. I prefer voluntarist, but so I'm going to sidestep that. Is an anarchist libertarian society even possible? The answer is yes. We have to change the mindset of what's normal. The only reason the state is the way right now and not a free society is because they've built it that way. They have people believe that, most of the reason that people pay their taxes is because they feel like if they don't, they'll get it removed. Or the only reason that they expect the state to build the roads is because they've been told they're the only ones that can do it. We know that when freedom in any particular situation, no matter where you're talking, when more freedom is introduced into a society, it flourishes. And it is when you start taking those freedoms away and the state grows bigger, because let's be clear, on a large scale, we've never had anarchy, not with the society that we have. So what we have to do is convince people that there are other ways. And so that's why I asked, I personally have opinions on how we can make that come about. And it does go along a very similar lines of what both Chad and Nico have said. But at the same time, we need to be, although I agree we need to be teaching people, we also need to be doing things. And one of the reasons that people, for instance, turn to the welfare state when they're bad off is because we haven't grown private libertarian charities. We haven't done that. We need to do that. That needs to happen. Now, if you say, well, I don't know how, neither do I. I haven't done it yet. But I'll tell you what I do. And that is I garden. And when we have extra food and we have extra shit, we take it to the local food bank and we donate it so that they get used to getting stuff from us. They get used to getting stuff from the anarchists.
Right. And then that appreciation comes there, and it tends to kind of change the mindset too there. I just want to bring this up. So you said what you do. So you said
Yeah,
doo-doo.
I did.
You're wearing an ogre shit shirt, and then you said
Yep.
shit later. So like I'm thinking you're anal retentive or something.
I am. Full of shit.
No, I do want to like. It's reminded me. I wanted to say this way back when, but whoever it was talking about the TSA checks and all that stuff. And like, what is Nico about his grandmother? That's what it was. So I was behind this chick one time. Like we were all getting on the plane, like my wife and kids, going to Miami. This is years ago, and this girl, and she's like a young. She's not a bad looking woman and everything, but she's getting on there, and bro, no lie, like they start telling her like you can't bring this on the flight. She's like, what? She goes, and it's a 16-ounce bottle. Okay. She says that's personal lubricant, and the rest of the
a lot of personal lubricant.
Exactly. No, like so she says something, and it says like I can have any care. You know, the regulations say I can carry any amount of personal lubricant. I'm like, look, bro, like I'm not even trying to hate or anything like that. I don't know what you're planning on doing on this plane. But goddamn, I promise you, they probably have some in Miami that you could buy. You didn't. I don't know why you had to bring that much in your carry-on, but Jesus, like what the hell? What the hell are you
getting ready for a film? You never know.
Okay? That's what I was thinking. I was like, I don't know what else. But it was just so funny. Like, if it's me, I mean, this is just me. Like the way if that sort of thing is going to happen, I am sure as hell not making a big scene in the middle of all the people because it was backed up. And it was in front of everybody, all kind of people, women, kids, you know, grannies, grandpas, and all this stuff. She's yelling at him like, that is personal lubricant, and I can have it. And I was like, yo, like, chill.
My kids are here. My kids are here.
Well, not only that, but like, she wasn't even the slightest bit embarrassed. She was just like, listen, goddammit, I'm planning on going to the 17 Mile High Club today. You know, like, I don't know what she had on her docket, but. Anyway,
she's got 16 ounces. That dude's dick looked like my mic.
Either that or she's all dry and dusty in there. I don't know. It was funny. I thought, man, you got
man, that's just wild.
So
you could put it in a travel size.
He's still going on.
Oh man. But anyway, all right. So
you'd think they were about to get fucked by the state. Might need 16 ounces at that point.
I was like, look, that would have been the great Uno reverse card. It's like, like listen, I brought that prepared for y'all.
Exactly.
So I was just waiting for my full cavity search.
So I think the biggest challenge for us though is tearing down the narrative that the state has built for itself.
Yeah. Yep.
I think that's the biggest challenge. We have to point out that and show that first of all, because and to be clear, this is all, you know, how to brainwash people. This is straight out of, you know, of propaganda. This is what you do if you're an advertiser. You identify the problem, you explain the problem, and you show how the problem is fucking you, and then you come in with the solution. That's just Bernays. That's just a simple formula that they have known since, you know, Bernays' times, which was right before World War II. But anyway, long story short, what we have to do is constantly show where the state, you know, is not doing that. You know, people want to worry about their health and they want to worry about this and that. We have thousands, millions of examples of how the state is not helping people. You know, one of the best places we can show with people are like, well, you know, people are dying and they have health care issues and they, you know, we need to help them and this and that. Okay, I agree. Let's not do it your way, because we have a perfect example in the VA of how not to take care of people. And I want to real quick and kind of introduce the story of my father-in-law to the greater audience. Many of the people that have been anarchs for a while and are in our Telegram knew this was happening. But I'm just going to start and I'm going to give a brief description, because this is the healthcare system that you're begging for when you beg for it from government. Mm-hmm. And that is, he was supposed to get, he has a hip problem, and he was supposed to get his hip replaced. And my dates are probably wrong, but they're going to be close. Let's say he was supposed to get it a year ago, this past March. So in March of 2020, he was supposed to get his hip replaced, and did not, because of COVID, was not able to, and is deteriorating to the point where he can barely walk, was not able to get his hip worked on until January. So we'll start there. So
one of the nearly completely ignored side effects of all the fuckery that has gone on in this whole medical lockdown and everything is elective procedures like that, which is elective. Like you can't walk, and your hip is getting worse by the day, but that's elective. You don't really need that.
Right. So
anyway,
he gets into the VA, which is free. Remember that. For him, it's free.
Right.
So in what they do is they finally bring him in and they give him a hip, and they send him on his way, right? He got him a new hip. Yay! Except for they didn't bother to clean the motherfucker, and it was absolutely and totally covered in bacteria, and it rotted in his body. So, and they sent him home like that because they didn't give a shit, because it's the VA. So he goes back in. One, they did everything they could do to try to cover it up, because they now know that he's got a lawsuit on him because it was their fault. He almost dies multiple times. Oh, and by the way, while the first time when he was in the hospital, he had to drag himself to the bathroom because they would not get him to the bathroom after he has had a hip replaced. For hours and hours, he waited in a bed, not able to get there. But that's the kind of state-ran medical system that we have for our veterans, the best and the brightest, for the people that defend this country.
For your service.
I feel so bad for veterans, because they go in with the highest hope that they're going to do something for their country, and then they get mentally broken, and then built back up. And then after they're fucked in the head, they're sent somewhere else overseas to act like Big Daddy's bitches to patrol the streets. And then they come back home after getting psychologically fucked because you just took somebody's life for no fucking reason. And you come back home and they're like, "You good, champ? Cool. We're going to give you discounts on a free ride to Dairy Queen and some yogurt." No. And then there's some of them living on the fucking streets.
Right.
And so they're like, nah,
tons living on the streets.
Man, they lived in worse conditions, so they'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I don't know the numbers specifically, but the proportionality of homeless people who are veterans, I think vastly outweighs the regular general population of veterans to non-veterans.
That shit is disgusting.
So to continue the story, they brought him back in, and let's be clear too. His wife, they decided they weren't going to talk to her. She wasn't allowed in the hospital. She couldn't even be there. Had to go home. She lives in West Virginia. The only place they could take him to was in Pennsylvania. So she is hours and hours away from her husband, not able to communicate. They don't bother to call her when he comes out of surgery to let her know that he's out of surgery. They don't bother to let anybody know anything's going on. They were trying to screw him over, move him from one place to another. Long story short, they ass raped the hell out of him and his body, and are more concerned about burying his problem. When my mother-in-law, it's actually my wife's stepmother, calls in to find out, they told her to stop calling and bothering the nurses when her husband is possibly laying dead, and they won't even let her know that they were about to transfer him, but all because the state was in charge and they did not give a shit about him. So let's just wrap this little piece of nugget of bullshit that he went through, that is this the state-ran healthcare system that is the VA. because my mother-in-law was trying to see her husband and trying to get information about her husband, the doctor who told her not to call her nurses anymore sent him home with not one, not two, not three, but 5 laxatives. That's right, 5 laxatives that they didn't say here's 5 laxatives. They said he needs to take these 5 pills every day, which made it to where he had to shit every fucking 10 minutes. They had him going to the bathroom that they refused to give him a fucking bedside toilet for because that would be COVID trouble, but yet punished him for standing up to them by sending him with 5 laxatives. That's how they treat our veterans. So that's the state. That is the ogre shit that we face. And never make any doubt that they will do just the same thing to you in every way that they can if they will do it to a Marine Corps veteran.
Didn't they fuck up his spine and stuff too?
They did fuck up his spine. It was infected. I've cut a bunch of details out of this, but yeah, they fucked up his spine. He was in the hospital for like 14 days because they fucked up and put a dirty hip into his body. We went and saw him this past weekend. He is still in a wheelchair. It has been something like 2 months now.
2 months, yeah. Mm-hmm.
That shit is beyond sick.
Coming to a healthcare system near you.
Actually, it's funny that my brother wasn't deployed anywhere. No, he's deployed to Germany. And I was talking to him. I'm like, I hope you don't plan on getting that shit. And he was like, nah, nigga, you know how many times they stuck me with some shit?
Right.
And I was like, yeah. He's like, my headaches are worse. Fucking allergies are whooping my ass. And I'm like, fuck. Like, you don't need no more. No more. Like, I'll come over to Texas and slap the dog shit out of you and that doctor.
Right.
Like,
but wow.
Goodness.
But that is the kind of thing that we need to keep in mind. That is what we're fighting. Chad, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. So I want to bring this up because I tweeted this last week, but I didn't. Not a whole lot of people like. I don't know if people didn't understand what it was or what. Maybe I needed to go into a little more detail. But anyway, I was busy and I was just like, let me just get the link and throw it up there. Remind people. March 5th of 2019. Adam Schiff, everybody's favorite congressman from California. He sponsored this bill. And it's not a bill, it's a resolution. House Resolution 179 from the 116th Congress. And the name of it, now remember, this is March 5th, 2019. Okay. Almost a full year before all the fuckery started. Okay. House Resolution 179. Recognizing the importance of vaccinations and immunizations in the United States. That's the resolution. I would go into reading it and everything. I don't need to. It's kind of long. Not like a bill long, but it's long to read on the show. But that was the precursor to what we are going through right now, and it's just kind of odd, or not odd, totally predictable that would come out a year before. This train started going. Oh, there's Daryl. I see you finally showed up, huh, Daryl? Okay, all right. Yeah, all right. I see. No. Go back and watch the beginning. We had fun tonight. But yeah, you go back to like Obamacare, and that was what like the thing that I saw with that from the very beginning was once you begin this and to open this can of worms up to where the government is in charge of your health care. Well, then they get to determine what you can and can't eat, what you can and can't do, what you must do, what you must eat, what you must have injected into your body, and all these, because they effectively own your body at that point. Right. So all of these infringements become no longer infringements as far as they're concerned because they own you and they can't infringe on their own property.
They've already owned you as soon as you decide to go to a hospital and get a birth certificate from them. You're a note. You're a note. You're a note.
Yeah.
And you and your kids and your kids' kids. And I said this from A1 day one. My wife is having my babies in the tub. I know bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm with Spooner. I ain't signed shit. Fuck you.
Yeah, but it's crazy how they do all that stuff though. Like they make it to where, and it was funny. My wife was having a conversation with somebody at one of these events for one of our kids, and somebody was saying something about the stuff that you're supposed to get every few years for your kids and all that stuff, and like, oh no, like, what? Wait, so you don't have to do that? Like they say you do though. Like they tell you,
say a lot of shit.
It's mandatory. They tell you it's required, but it's not required. Like no, they tell you it's required, and then if you say nah, religious exemption or conscientious exemption or whatever your exemption,
you got to do,
whatever you want to, and you have to look, check your state, and your what your different outs are, I guess, so to speak. But yeah, that's but I just thought that was really interesting that like almost a year to the day of when like the first lockdown started, that House resolution was introduced by one of the most fuckery specific and fantastic congressmen in Congress, Adam Schiff.
Ass clown. Yeah. To your point, Chad, what people need to realize too, this shit didn't just happen. It just did not happen. There is way too much proof, way too much. And you don't have to look very far. Just do a little search. You'll find that all this shit was planned in advance. Every bit of it has been gamed out. These are plans. The thing is, I'm certain that they're 5-year plans. Good, because ain't no 5-year plans works worth of shit. So because you can't plan what's going to happen next year, much less 5 years down the road. They're stupid, and that is the advantage we have over government. Is that they think that we're all robots and that you're just going to, just roll something out. It's always going to work the same way. That's not the way it works. We have to be like the Native Americans or the pirates. We have to be swift. We have to be agile. We have to use like Sun Tzu would have had us do. We have to use their weaknesses against them and make them our strengths. We have to be able. We are peaceful. They aren't. We are people genuinely want to be peaceful. We are that solution. Be that solution.
I just put the link to that bill or that resolution in the chat. Type a 1 in the chat if you see that link, because I'm not seeing it in our little private chat here, or I mean our show chat here, but I see it on the YouTube chat. So
I don't see it.
Type a 1 in the chat if you see the link. Type a 2 if you do not, and I will try to send it again. I don't want to spam the thing with that link, but anyway, yeah, that's go ahead.
When I sliced my arm open, my karambit, trying to be cute and shit, and flipping.
Yeah, right.
Oh no, this was when I had to go get stitches.
Shit.
Okay.
I thought you were saying you just did it. I'm like, oh shit.
No, I wouldn't be here. I'd be like, hey guys,
I got to
go. I sliced it open, and me being Mr. Like, this bitch was sliced open. Like, it looked like a floppy pocket that you could open up and put some shit in. Like, it was bad. But I had to go to the doctor and all that, and she was like, would you like a tetanus shot? What the fuck I look like? Looks like I'm gonna get poisoned tonight, baby girl.
Where you get that, where you get that shit from? Where tetanus actually comes from?
Where did it come from?
From animal feces. So how because all right, so where it kind of originated was like on farms and stuff like that. You're working around equipment and everything, and you scratch yourself on something that may or may not have been like, had like a horse, shit. Yeah, like whatever. Like you're you got like your animals and all that stuff, and all that shit gets kind of mixed together, and you're like, man, I don't know. Like, you know, the last time I used that knife, I was working around by the, you know, this stable of, you know, Henry the Wonder Horse or whatever, and you know it. So people, you know, shit would happen. People get infected, get lockjaw, whatever, all this kind of shit. Well, if you're messing around with your knife or whatever, or you step on a nail at a construction site or something like that, like, what are the odds that you got animal feces in there? And the other thing is too, once you already stepped on some shit, like for that thing to actually like put the antibodies to work in your system, if it's going to kill you, you're going to be dead before the vaccine, the tetanus shot is even going to take effect. So like what at that point, it's like, hey, I saw your credit card got declined. And you had an NSF charge. So that's going to be $25 coming out of your checking account on top of that. Well, it sucks that you have that. Want to buy this insurance to make that not happen? It's like, well, but it already happened. Like, you know, like, but okay, but it'll keep it from happening in the future. Like, but yeah, but it's not going to help me this time. Like, so right. what's the point? You know, like instead, why we? And that's, you know, back to the thing. Like, there's so much of this stuff that we're not treating some of the real things that are going on with people. Instead, they're just treating this thing. They're just treating this thing that they're, you know, blaming all these illnesses and everything else on. But it was funny. I saw somebody, they had some, okay, so the story's not funny. The response was funny. The story is terrible and tragic. This, I think she's 20 years old or something like that, or maybe 25. This girl, she posted, you know, a few days ago about how she had gotten the first shot and she wasn't feeling well, was kicking her ass and everything. And next thing you know, she's saying, "Oh man, it's really bad," and you know, all this stuff. And then boom, next thing you know, there's a, you know, in memory of picture right next to it. So you know, it was like days after. And one of the people, the comment that I thought that was funny was this person tried to say she had all these other issues and everything. I'm like, it's funny. That's not what people have been saying for the last year. They've been saying, well, yeah, you know, if you have heart disease, it makes it, you know, this will cause you to like do whatever, you know, like it's like, man, it's weird how that kind of flips around. Like, and I remember like all the stuff with like autism and everything. Like it's always, you know, you could have, and Mark, you talked about how you had an issue. I had another friend who had an issue back home that where his kid went like catatonic and didn't talk for like weeks, if not months, and then was like a completely different person, became completely introverted, and like had all kinds of other health issues. Had like calcium oxalate in his urine and in his bladder. It was causing all kind of problems there and everything. And they had to go through this whole process where they like purged all that shit from his system. It's like all of that stuff you tell somebody and they're like, well, there's probably some other explanation for it. But no, not the thing. The thing is the cause of everything.
Right.
You shall not question any other underlying conditions before that.
It's science, baby.
You shall
Don't question science. Stop it.
But if you get that shot and some bad shit happens to you,
the whole idea of science is to question.
Yeah, exactly.
Too much. Stop it.
Stop it. So if the thing happened, if you tested, let's forget about the fact that the tests are bullshit. But if you tested for the thing, and then some shit happened, it was the thing that caused it.
Right.
But if you got a shot and then 2 days later, R.I.P.
Oh,
no,
that's not it. Not it.
Underlying conditions.
Right.
Science is racist. They're all said.
All right. So we are getting about close to our 2-hour mark, guys. We probably ought to start winding down.
Before we shut it down, I'm gonna put it in this chat to see if it'll actually work.
Sure, and send it to me, and I'll put it in the notes.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because it's a very telling piece of Okay, it finally landed with when I posted it here. So all right, cool.
Right.
I see it on
Cool.
the other chat.
Good. But yeah, at the end of the day, what we mean, what Nico means, and what Chad means, and what I mean by ogre shit is that, you know, that's the best description, because when an ogre does nothing but come in and destroy a bunch of shit, and it's worse than that. It's the shit from that.
Right.
You know,
it leaves little surprises. Oh man,
that is the
little
best
surprise.
description of
Everybody were an
government.
ogre, there'd be a shit hunt.
Ogre
instead
turd
of-
is probably the size of my pillow.
Right. Right.
Like,
Yeah. Right. And but government is the problem. You know,
Yeah.
Ronald Reagan was right. The worst thing that could ever happen is for you to somebody knock on your door and say, "Hi, we're here from the government. We're here to help." Because that means they're going to look through your house, try to find some drugs, going to try to find some guns. They're going to try to do what they can, throw your ass in
Hey,
jail,
look,
and fuck those people that hurt you.
that guy. This is another instance of a white man having this stuff happen to him. This man was at his daughter's house. They were like playing Crash Bandicoot. She had just graduated from high school or something, or graduated from college. I think that's what it was her apartment. She had graduated from college, and he was over there. And it was like 3:00 in the morning. They're playing, and they were making noise. They were cutting up and everything. And he, like the neighbors, one of their neighbors in the apartment complex called the cops for a noise complaint. And cops come to the door, and so it's a noise complaint. Let's remember, it's a noise complaint. Okay.
Yeah.
So what kind of footing should you be on for a noise complaint? Even if it's like a potential domestic situation or something like that.
You're here to help.
You're here to help, right? No. This is bang on the door and then step away from the door so nobody can see who's there. And then as soon as the guy opens the door, shines in his face. Now he doesn't know what's going on, so he reaches behind himself because he had a gun. Reaches behind himself, and then boom, 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 he's dropped. Done. R.I.P. That's it. He's gone. His daughter comes screaming out of the hallway.
Notify you to police? Like, what kind of ill fucking training? Like, at the end of the day, it comes down to training. It comes down to personal discretion. It comes down to like really knowing and being aware of your surroundings and knowing the situation of the surroundings as well.
Right.
We can't have trigger happy fucknuts with guns and, you know, the people who were athletic in high school and the people who, you know, don't have what the hell just happened.
Marcus put that.
I'm backing you up.
I'm scared. I'm scared for a second. I was scared for. Fun fact: the Nazi symbol is the black sun. And I'll bring y'all more information on that. So before you guys go be like, "Oh my God, it's a swastika!" The swastika was actually something that was a part of a tribe. That was a symbolism of, I don't necessarily remember, but it belonged to a different culture. They just love rewriting shit. So do some real history. Do some real history research. But yeah, no.
Sorry to scare you. I was backing you up with a meme. Nico.
Yeah, it's basically like red coats, thin blue line, or brown shirts. It's all the same. Same.
It is
shit.
all the same. It's all the same. They, at the end of the day, they don't have the badges on their shoulder. They have them on their chest with fucking body cameras.
Yeah,
you can see what the fuck they do.
Shut off.
That's so crazy. They have to be like, I don't see how like every American hasn't signed off on saying, yeah, I would feel 3 billion times safer if these motherfuckers couldn't shut their body cameras off until the end of the shift.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the way that if you want to really, and like I said, we're getting close to our mark, but if you really want to police the police, what you do is, you're right, put a body camera on. There should be a channel in every community for every cop that you can watch that body camera live all the time.
Like Scott's idea with voting, you know, like have it to where like if you wanted to, you could just go, and that way they'd know, because you'd have some people who like their whole yeah, man, you put our damn thing back up there. It's all good. But no, you'd have people who'd be like the people who listen to police scanners and shit like that. You know, you'd have your body cam YouTube channels, body cam watcher, websites and everything. That they'd be broadcasting that shit sun up to sundown every day, and then beyond. You know, they'd be from sundown to sun up. He'd have them on shifts, but yeah, it's transparency. But see, that's the thing. All right, so if I go to we got this pool supply place. Okay, I got some issues with my pool. All right, I go and I need to like check the pH and check the the alkalinity and the chlorine level and all this shit. Well, I take it over there and I check and they tell me what to get and all this stuff. Well, if they keep fucking up my pool, I can go somewhere else. I can take my services, find someone else who can do a better job, see if I can get a better analysis. I work on a little bit of the stuff myself, see if I can come up with my own creative solutions. But when you're pigeonholed into this monopoly on violence and coercive force and rulemaking and tax collection, then you don't really have that choice. It's just like, I brought it, hey, my pool turned greener and now it's completely opaque. And now it's like Jell-O. So somebody needs to come up. We conducted an internal investigation and we found no wrongdoing.
Right.
Like, and they don't get to go out of business for that. That's the thing. Like you have companies that do enough of this fuckery. And as long as they're not in bed with the government, they go under. And I mean, even Enron, who had their connections to Texas government and other elements of government, you had George Bush talking about how great they were before they weren't. He's like, I loved them before I didn't. I used to love you. To bring John Kerry's thing about the Iraq War. But anyway, it's that type of accountability and transparency that the private sector not in this corporatist bullshit that we have now, which is not really, and I even hesitate to say private sector. More, I like to look at it more in free market versus this coercive, manipulated, regulated combo government, this mixed economy that we have where government is on the giving and receiving end of everything. So they're writing the regulations, but they're bought and paid for by the people who want the regulations written a certain way. And those people don't get regulated the same way that other people get regulated. Or if they do, they make it to where it's only regulations that they can deal with so that everybody else goes out of business. It's that type of shit that we're dealing with. And back to law enforcement, if we had more of these competing firms of like an alarm company, there's tons of different alarm companies that you can use. Okay. And they all compete. They all do a lot of the same things. In a lot of cases, it's not really like you're head and shoulders above or below each other on that, that landscape. There are some that are better by maybe $10 a month on your monthly fee or whatever. They may have video where the other one doesn't have video or whatever the case may be. But by and large, like you have some options. You have like 10 or 12, 15 different companies that you can go to. And if one of them's not doing the job, they're not answering the phone or whatever, you go use a different one.
Right.
But you don't have that with law enforcement. You have one. That's it. And if they fuck you over, they have the judge, jury, and executioner on their side.
Yep.
They're all in bed together.
Sure. So I have one more quote that I'd like to kind of send us off with, and then Chad, you can do the outro and all that. Yeah. But I thought that going through what you were talking about, this quote was perfect. So I'm going to put it on the screen.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So for those who are listening, I guess I should read it. It's Emma Goldman. It says, civilization has been a continuous struggle of the individual or of groups of individuals against the state and even against society, that is, against the majority, subdued and hypnotized by the state and state worship.
Yes, indeed. Yep. Well, I think that's we're coming up on 2 hours in like 30 seconds. So we're going to give this a quick wrap. We thank everybody for coming out tonight and joining us. I'm going to go back to, this is my last night of this vacation before I have to drive like 13 hours back home tomorrow. So I'm going to go enjoy myself. Nico, I know you got to get up early in the morning to go to work.
Yeah,
So we're going to call it a night. But we want to remind everyone one last time to like. If you haven't already liked the episode, go ahead and hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button if you're not already a subscriber. If you're not already a subscriber, sorry, I'm like I'm exhausted. I'm starting to stumble. But you've got to subscribe if you're not already doing it. Somebody shared this with you, and with that, I remind you, 2 shares to speed the spread. Share this podcast with everyone you can. We want this to go far and wide. We're already up over 500. We're to the point where I don't know. We might be able to get monetized down the road. And that reminds me, Patreon. Until we get monetized, you can go help us out there. You can also super chat us over at Libre TV. Yeah, you can buy our merch as well. Absolutely. Marcus makes great merch, and Daryl helped design one of our shirts. I'm trying to find the damn Libre chat. I can't find it. I was going to see if anybody had dropped anything in there because I forgot to check for the last long little while. And I pulled up that House bill or the House resolution on here, but yeah. So okay, no super chats in there. All right, so we're cool. But yeah, go to the Patreon.
Trolls. We need the trolls to come back.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I know. Right, I want those expensive ass trolls again. Yeah, but go to the Patreon, become a patron. At the $5 level, like I said before, you get to join our Anarch chat where we've got some really good conversations, a lot of really funny stuff, and also some really harrowing stuff. Like Daryl dropped a video in there today. I think it was Daryl, maybe it was Tim. I don't remember, one of them, because they were going back and forth. But this video of Alex Jones and some guys like running up on this van where they had these people just hauling these little immigrant children in the back of a car, and they were like taking them off to, I don't know. Did y'all see that video? That shit was nuts.
I did. Yeah, it's crazy. For sure.
They're like just they just threw these kids in the trunk, and they were about to take them off, and then Alex Jones and them come up on them, and they're like, "Where are you taking these kids? This is illegal. Why do you have them? You don't have them in seat belts. You don't have them in car seats. Nothing. These are little bitty kids." Right. And the guy's saying that they're going to get COVID
government
tested
employees.
Or some bullshit.
Right.
And and he's a government employee, but he's not. Anyway, it's just he was with this charitable organization, but he wasn't. He was actually with the government. But anyway, join that chat at the $5 level because it's definitely worth it. There's a whole bunch of bomb shit going on in there. So sure. We appreciate everybody for joining us tonight. Yep,
real quick, want to give 2 shout outs. Both Jonesy and Natasha became Patreon subscribers.
Let's go
tonight.
All right.
So welcome aboard, guys. Thank you.
I love it. And also, what was that? Oh yeah, our upcoming guests. So we have on the schedule already. We have Olivia Rondeau for 2 weeks from now, April 21st, and we have Felicia Killings coming up on May the 12th. That's in like 4 weeks.
Fire.
Yes, and I'm working on a couple of others, so stay tuned for that because we've got some stuff coming. Josh Smith. Josh Smith on the 18th. Yeah, I think Josh Smith on the 18th. Yep.
He's a special Sunday edition.
That's right, on Sunday.
18th or 14th?
I'm thinking it's, let me look.
No, it's the 18th. It's the 18th.
Okay.
18th.
Sunday the 18th. Yeah, we don't have anybody scheduled for the 14th. So if anybody has an idea, go over to the Anarch chat or hit us up on Twitter and give us your suggestions there, and we will try and jump. So, like I said, I'm working on a couple as we speak, but I haven't gotten responses back. So,
no, I was replying to Sketch. We did have Uncle Hotep on here, but
no, we could bring.
It'd be great to have back.
Yeah,
for sure.
We would most definitely get some reoccurring guests.
Yeah, after I want to reach out to Hotep Jesus. That has been our best one yet. And I'd love to have him back on like after it's been a year, which is like August, I think.
I want
to let him go do his stuff in California and everything with the Libertarian Party see how that goes, and then kind of that would be a good time to a good
Pick him up. Yeah.
debriefing of how that all went down.
Sure.
Yeah, I want to see from his perspective what it was like to be at a convention, at a state convention.
Yeah.
Another thing, if you guys aren't bored, but you guys got some questions, or you guys got any specific topics that you guys would like us to dwell deep in, please don't be scared to type it, because your asses are staring at us. So please,
for sure.
most definitely.
I hope your asses aren't staring at us. Marcus will get excited.
They have bad breath.
Bad breath. Oh shit. Anyway, all right.
Oh shit.
So let me
Stay
go.
free, my friends.
Yeah, exactly. Let me go play bananagrams with my kids. Peace.
Peace.